Hello everyone and welcome back to Steins Gate 0. I'm G, and we have been trying to find Kagura Shina, and Ferris is here now, which is cool. That's probably actually going to be helpful. But yeah, let's continue with this. We are going down the opposite path from X-Day Protocol and all that. So we're on different things. Anyways, I spun around when I heard a voice behind me.
I knew it was you, Nya. What are you doing here, Nya?
Ferris, and...
Hello, Okabe.
It's rare to see you two together.
We just happened to run into each other over there, Nya, and Nya was carrying a heavy load, so I decided to help him, Nya.
I took a closer look and saw that Ukiko was holding bags in both hands. If you added in what Ferris was carrying, it was quite a lot. He was trying to carry this all home. Ukiko?
Hey, excuse me. Did you just hear something?
No, this isn't. I quickly hid the smartphone behind my back.
Hey, are you listening? Hey! There it is again, Nya! Is that who you were talking to a minute ago, Nya?
No, this is... It shouldn't matter if they found out.
Hey, wait!
They still felt guilty, so I closed the Amadeus app.
Were you on the phone, Nya?
I was just asking an acquaintance for some advice.
Advice? Well, that was it, Nya. I saw you from behind and it looked like you were mumbling to yourself. I was a little worried, Nya.
It looked like she needed to worry about me. But well, if she saw me talking to my smartphone in a place like this, I guess I could understand that.
Anyway, if you're in trouble, you should have just come to Ferris, Nya. That's right. I might not be able to help, but I can at least listen.
Thanks, really, but it's nothing. No, wait a second. Both Ferris and Ukiko had lived in Akihabara since they were born, and both their families held important positions here. Maybe asking them wouldn't be such a bad idea after all. I'm actually looking for someone.
You're looking for someone?
I told them that I was looking for a girl who'd gone missing 12 years ago in Akihabara. Of course, I didn't tell them that she was from the future or that she was Mayuri's daughter.
I'm really interested in knowing why she went missing, Nya.
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Meow.
If you could ask if anyone has any idea, that would be a huge help.
Got it. I'll ask Kuroki, Nya.
Kuroki was her family butler. I'd met him several times. In the same way that Ferris naturally looked like a maid, Kuroki just naturally looked like a butler. Come to think of it, it was rather strange for a maid to have a butler for a servant.
Oh, and I'll ask the masters that made Queen Yan Yan, Nya. I'll ask my father, as well as our parishioners.
Thanks. That would be a big help. Both Kuroki and Ukiko's dad knew a lot of people, and they had a far better chance of finding someone than we did. I hope they could at least find some small clue. Anyway, Ukiko, what's all this stuff?
Oh, remember how I said I had guests coming yesterday? Those guests is going to be staying at our house for a while. They're going to get the things they need, Nya.
If they were guests of Ukiko's father, they must be fairly old. And from what I'd heard yesterday, they probably had some unique hobbies. That's rough.
No, it's actually kind of fun.
Fun? Ukiko shared the same blood as his dad, so perhaps he had some latent interest in those hobbies. Don't get too into it, okay?
Huh? Okay.
I gave him that warning, then went to leave. Well, I tried to leave, but...
Got it, I've got it. You're good, Nya, you okay? You're not even walking straight, Nya. I'm fine, this is nothing. Have some tea if you'd like.
No, I'll pass. You've got guests, right?
That's true, but...
I couldn't bear to see him struggle like that, so I'd carried his bags to the shrine with him. Ferris had gone back to her cafe. You know, I have no idea how you expected to carry all this stuff.
I've gotten a little stronger lately. I've been doing the sword exercise you gave me, Okabe.
Sword exercises. That was the training I'd given him when he told me he felt too much like a girl. Seishin Zanma school, huh? It was so stupid I couldn't even laugh.
I'm sorry.
Thinking back, I was amazed he put up with that nonsense. Luca, are you home? I could hear his dad's voice from their home behind the shrine office.
Yes, I'll be right there.
Okay, I'll be going.
Right, thank you, Okabe.
Rikuko bowed deeply as they left Yanabayashi Shrine. On my way home, I thought about what the two of them had said.
Anyway, if you're in trouble, you should have just come to Ferris, yeah. That's right, I might not be able to help, but I can at least listen.
I didn't realize until after they'd spoken. I'd gone to Kurisu before I'd gone to anyone else. I'd brought up the app and started talking with her before I even realized it. She wasn't the real Kurisu. But that voice, the way she acted, all of it reminded me of Kurisu. All of it brought back the emotions I'd tried to hide. There's an incoming call on my phone. I can't open the phone. It was from Kurisu. He was probably there to complain about me hanging up on her earlier. Still can't open it! That would be just like Kurisu. I can't make it. I didn't answer the phone. Should've! I didn't answer any of the other calls that came that day either. The United States of America, California. Christ, why do I have to do this report? The reporter, Jessica Edmond, had rushed to the scene at her director's orders, and she was pissed off about it. She dreamed of Hollywood, and had even been in a movie once. So how'd she end up reporting on this crap? You're the one who said you wanted work no matter what it was.
I did say that, but still.
Giving a bratty failed actress a chance to do something productive with her life. I expect gratitude, not complaints.
What did you say?
Or what, are you gonna give up on the job and run away? You never see anything through, you know. You keep that up and you lose custody. She hated herself for not being able to say anything. Her stupid pride got in the way. She dreamed of being a Hollywood actress, but all she'd gotten was a small part in a B movie. It had never gone anywhere after that. And she had a kid and came back home. Still, she loved her kid. She wanted to make sure they were taken care of, no matter what she had to do.
So where is it?
Back behind those bushes. She went into the bushes and there she saw it.
Ah!
Several bodies, all brutally mutilated.
Five scientists have gone missing this year, and 3 of the 5 were believed to have been researching artificial intelligence. The authorities believe that the culprits may be radical religious fundamentalists who oppose the development of AI. And now we go live to the scene. Jessica? This is Jessica Edmond reporting live from the scene. The bodies found this morning were initially believed to be human. A police investigation later revealed them to be chimpanzees and orangutans. But the bodies are all missing their brains and parts of their heads. Police are warning locals that a maniac may be on the loose.
Hey Okabe, you got class after this? Nope, I'm done for the day. You wanna go get some food somewhere? You just want curry again, don't you? Kitchen Tokai? I got a bit of an extra bonus yesterday, so maybe I'll splurge and go to Mondi. I'll pass, I'm a little tight this month. Okay, maybe next time then. Sure. I was talking with my friends after class. I'd really started to get used to this. Before the summer I'd felt really out of place at school, but now it didn't seem so bad. Back then I thought I was special. But now I knew better. As long as you make the effort to fit in, you can find a place to belong. People can change. No, they change whether they want to or not. It was too late now, but I'd learned something about myself. It really was too late. Anyway, time to go home. Huh? As I head for the exit, I realized I recognized one of the people passing through my field of vision. That was Dr. Leskinen. My college went out of its way to attract exchange students, so it wasn't unusual to see foreigners. But still. He's gone. I hurried after him, but the person I just saw was already gone. Was I just mistaken?
Come to think of it, the professor being here wouldn't be strange. He might have come to meet with my advisor, Izaki. Izaki had wanted to get to know him. Next time I see him, I'll ask. I glanced in the direction he'd gone and then left the school for Akihabara. When I came out of the turnstile, the radio building was right in front of me, like always. The time machine that Suzuha had used to come here was probably still on the roof. Even if people didn't go up there often, it was still amazing that no one had found it after so long. Of course, that was all thanks to Ferris. She'd rented out the roof of the building and sealed it off. Of course, I hadn't come here to look at the time machine. I'd gotten messages from Rikuko and Ferris after I'd left the lab last night. Both of them had asked, and neither of them were able to gain useful information from me. It made sense when I thought about it. If there was a missing persons report, somebody might remember the police doing something, but there wasn't. But Ferris had said something interesting.
I did hear about a ghost with twin tails, yeah.
A ghost with twin tails.
Yeah, that's right. Supposedly appears every few years and asks people if they've seen a little girl, yeah. No matter how many years pass with appearances doesn't change, so people call it the ghost with twin tails, yeah.
That was definitely Suzuha. What would she do if she knew people thought she was a ghost? I held back a laugh as I tried to imagine it, and then headed for the radio building. My goal, of course, was to find information on Kagari. This was where she'd vanished, which meant that this was where I was most likely to find clues. I went around to each store inside the radio building and asked, but didn't learn anything. Of course, Suzuha would have done the same thing, so I didn't expect much. But that didn't mean I could just stop. Parts shops. The commercial facilities. Even the back alleys. Even after all that, I went all around Akihabara asking people about Kagari. But I didn't learn anything useful. Some people told me the same story about the ghost and twin tails, but no one knew anything about Kagari. If a little girl was kidnapped or got into an accident, somebody might witness that. But going missing was a different thing. If Kagari Shina vanished of her own free will, all anyone would see was a 10-year-old girl walking down the street. Nobody would remember that 10 years later. I tried to think again if there was a better way. If the police and government weren't of any use, that left someone connected to the underworld. The underworld, huh? As soon as I said it out loud, I drove the idea from my mind. How stupid. That's something the old me would have thought of. Giving that stuff up. Come to think of it, I'd run all over Akihabara looking for something once before. I wasn't looking for a person then, but a thing. The IBN 5100. 6 months ago in the Alpha World Line, I had gone looking for the same thing that Suzuha had searched for in the past. Back then, that's right, Kursu was with me. When Kursu and I had learned that there was an IBN 5100 in Fukuko's storeroom, we'd work together to carry the heavy thing.
Walk forwards, and I have to walk backwards. Let's walk sideways.
Thinking back, all she ever done was complain. She was strong-willed, bratty, and hated to lose, but she was still so lonely. Once again, I'd taken my phone out of my pocket without realizing it. Amadeus. Since I hadn't picked up any of her calls yesterday, she hadn't called at all today. I stared at the Amadeus icon for a moment, and then put my phone back in my pocket. When I got back to the lab, I saw that Daru was completely exhausted. There was no need to even ask. It was obvious he hadn't found a single clue. Suzuha had been doing this for over half a year, so her face didn't betray her emotions anymore. Daru didn't even bother asking me how it went. You could probably tell from the look on my face. When you stop to think about it, Suzuha's been working pretty hard at this. We amateurs aren't exactly going to find something new on our own. Daru said what I'd been thinking, but trying not to say.
Thanks for helping. You don't need to waste any more time on this. I'll keep looking on my own.
Suzuha evidently had no intention of giving up.
No, wait a second. Suzuha, what I'm trying to say is...
Can't let you guys keep working so hard at this. What happened with Kagari is my responsibility.
Don't be silly. If the kid's responsible, the parent's responsible. Duh.
Dad.
Hey, how was that? I think I was pretty good daddy there. If you want to hug me and tell me how much you love your daddy, go right ahead.
Watching these two always gave me a strange feeling. For a while after they first met, they were complete strangers. And now they were father and child. And age-wise, they were exactly the same.
Maybe I could understand how Suzuha was feeling if I had no idea what Daru was going through.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is just searching around randomly isn't going to get you anywhere.
What are we supposed to do?
You ask someone who knows this stuff. The best way to handle this is to go to a specialist.
Specialist?
The way to do this is to talk to someone who knows the underworld, duh.
I realized you'd come to the same idea I had. My head hurt. Do you know
someone like that?
Don't underestimate your daddy. He may be an otaku, but he's well known in certain circles.
well known for being a tub of lard?
Don't make fun of me, man.
And anyway, are you serious? Do you really know someone with underworld connections?
I'll see who I can find.
Before Suzuhara could respond, he took out his phone and started typing a message to someone. Was he serious? Was text messaging the preferred way to get in touch with the criminal underworld?
What do you think, Uncle?
If someone like that really exists, it can't hurt to ask them. In fairness, being a hacker was a pretty underworld sort of occupation too. If I knew someone like him, it was quite possible that the person he said he knew really existed.
Okay, sent. Now we just wait for a response. Oh?
Huh? It's back already.
Yeah, says she's on her way.
It's pretty fast, isn't she?
Heading slow, isn't it?
That was true. Daru was sending another message. He was probably telling her where we were. Now all we had to do was wait for her arrival. And then the phone rang. Who is that? Nikako! Fuck yeah! What? Hello? Nikako?
Oh, Okabe. Sorry, are you free right now?
Yeah, what's up?
Actually, there was something I wanted to talk to you about.
Something you wanted to talk to me about?
Can I come over now?
Now? Is it something you can't say on the phone?
Yes, kind of.
Right now? Would it be okay to leave this to Daru and Suzuha? Sorry, someone's coming over now. I was interested to see what kind of person Daru's friend was.
I see.
Can I wait until after that?
I've got something to do later.
I see.
So how about...
Just as Ruko was about to say something. I heard sharp footsteps coming up the stairs. And then a knock.
Come in!
Sorry, Dukako, she's here. I'll talk to you later. And then I stopped. What? The person who opened the door. It was... her? Again? It was Moeka Kiryu. I hadn't seen her since the ATF seminar.
Okabe, what's wrong? Okabe? Have something to drink.
Moeka was silent, with her head tilted slightly forward. Seeing her caused a dull ache within me, like my heart was being squeezed dry. Why? Why was she here with Daru? I had any number of doubts in my mind.
What's wrong, Okarine?
Nothing. Moeka tilted her head a bit to the side, and I quickly averted my eyes. There was no connection between CERN and us anymore. So she wasn't going to kill Mayuri. She wasn't going to kill Mayuri. She wasn't going to kill Mayuri. She wasn't going to kill her. I said it to myself over and over again, and finally started to relax.
Uncle, you look pale. You doing okay?
Don't worry about me. Anyway, Daru, can you explain what's going on?
Oh, this is Kirishi. She's an Edit Pro writer.
Moeka, Kiryu.
She silently handed me her business card, which had the name of the company called Arc Rewrite on it. Daru gave a brief explanation to me and Suzuha. Hey Daru, how did you meet her?
Magazine wants to do a special on Akihabara urban legends. And so I got a request to talk about my part-time job. It's not something I can really talk about, you know, so I politely refused, but... I normally try to make myself hard to track down, but she was able to find me. That got my attention. Once I met her, as you can see, I found out she was really hot. A hot writer who tracks down urban legends? Isn't that the most anime thing ever?
And that's how they'd met. Suzaha was frowning as she saw how Daru acted around Moeka. She didn't say anything, but I could tell she was thinking that he'd be better off directing his attentions toward her mom. Moeka, for her part, seemed completely uninterested in Daru. She was wearing her usual poker face and fiddling with her phone. Still using a Japanese feature phone instead of a smartphone, huh?
Well, it's not exactly her specialty, but she knows a lot about Akihabara, especially about some of the underground stuff, I guess. So I thought it might be worth asking her.
You're looking for someone. That's what I heard.
Yep, actually we want you to find a girl who went missing 12 years ago in Akihabara.
Daru told Moeka Kiryu the basic story. She was dead silent the whole time, but she typed his words into her phone with incredible speed. I said nothing and just watched. She was once around her. She probably still was. Was it okay to trust her? It was just a coincidence that I'd run into her here. I knew that in my head, but my heart just refused to accept it. Here in the Beta World line, we'd never encountered Moeka Kiryu before. Of course we hadn't. I'd chosen the Beta World line so that we wouldn't, even though the cost was Kurisumakise's life.
In other words, you want me to find this Kagurishina person?
That's right, can you help?
I can try,
Seriously?
but I don't know if I'll find her.
Of course, if you can't, you can't.
Normally Moeka and I would never have run into each other like this. Of course, we might have crossed paths in Akihabara. We almost ran into each other when she'd come to interview Dr. Leskin and Maho at the ATF seminar. I'd convinced myself that we were never going to meet each other directly. Was this fate? Were she and I fated to cross paths at some point? If that was the case, maybe it was better not to try and avoid her, but to watch her and see what she did. As I listened to Daru talk to her, that was what I started to think.
So we'll pay you if you succeed and then any other necessary expenses, okay?
No problem.
Akari and Suzaha, you two okay with that?
If you can help, I'm not going to complain.
I don't mind either.
It's a deal then.
Moeka nodded slightly and then asked for information about Kaguri that might be a clue. Stuff like the clothes she was wearing when she disappeared and what she looked like. After that, she left. Whew. All the tension suddenly drained from my body as I sank into the sofa.
Uncle, are you sure you're okay?
I'm fine, I was just a little nervous. It was a little late, but I took some anxiety meds out of my pocket and swallowed them.
Uncle, you know that Moeka Kiryu girl, don't you?
Huh? She could tell.
Seriously? When did that happen, Ocarine?
Why do you think so?
I can tell by looking at you.
I guess you have to be pretty sharp to survive on the battlefield. No, I don't know her.
Do you know her in the Alpha World line? Okay, I won't ask anymore, but I'll do my best to keep an eye on her.
That's enough. For now.
What are you guys talking about?
I got nervous is all.
I understand that. She's hot, has giant boobs, great proportions, and even wears glasses. You can't help it.
That's right. If she was a part of my life now, I would just have to use her as best I could. Maybe it was because she was gone now, or maybe it was because of the anxiety meds, but I'd calmed down enough to start thinking that way. Of course, who knew if I'd feel the same way the next time I saw her, face to face. Japanese office of the Global Brain Science Comprehensive Research Organization in Wako City, Saitama. Maho Hyajo had tried her best to hold back a yawn, but in the end she'd given up and opened her mouth so wide it covered well over half her face. Yeah. One reason was that she'd gotten caught up in talking to Kurisu last night, and only ended the conversation after it was late into the night. At first, they'd been discussing the research and experiments she'd been doing, but at some point she'd gotten sidetracked into talking about Rintaro Okabe. Evidently, he'd been ignoring calls from Kurisu for the last few days. Kurisu was much madder at him than she was when he'd ignored her the first 8 times. It was the first sign of femininity that she'd ever seen from Kurisu Makise. It was cute enough that Maho couldn't help but take the chance to get back at her for all the teasing she'd always did. She'd ended up staying up a lot later than she'd intended. And since she was too energized to sleep by that point, she'd gotten out Kurisu's old laptop. She started to fiddle with it to see if there was some way to crack the password, and the next thing she knew, it was morning.
Password, huh? Maybe it would be better to ask a professional.
What's up now?
Ah!
She suddenly heard a voice behind her and almost jumped out of her chair.
Is it really that surprising?
Professor, you're back?
Just now.
He raised up his hands and showed her some plastic bags from a nearby convenience store. He'd left to go get lunch just 10 minutes ago, and she'd been sure he wouldn't be back for a while.
You know, Japanese convenience stores have so many foods to choose from. It's truly wonderful. You can eat a different box lunch every day, and a week later you'll have new ones to choose from. And each store's got its own flavor, so you can get your food from them every day if you want.
If you keep eating boxed lunches from convenience stores, you're gonna get fat.
It's still healthy compared to American food. Also, I don't think you have the right to lecture anyone about their eating habits.
He was right. Nutrition wasn't an important consideration for Maho. In fact, she ate mostly cereal and meal replacement shakes, which made her diet very unhealthy.
By the way, what do you want to ask a professional for help with?
Oh, it's nothing. Nothing.
It wouldn't bother her if Leskinen found out, but for some reason she suddenly decided not to tell him.
Yeah, if there's anything I can do to help, I will.
Thank you. I may take you up on that.
She stood up and headed for the door.
Maho, where are you going?
I'm going to Akihabara to get some fresh air.
That's a long way to go just for some fresh air. If you just admit that you're going to see Lintalo, I'll permit it.
It's not like that.
It's not.
I might go see him while I'm there.
Okabe had a laboratory in Akihabara. Kurisu had told her that last night. She'd said something about how he'd been avoiding it for a long time and only recently started going there again. Maho was a little interested in it, too.
Just so we're clear, it's not like that. It really isn't.
I haven't said a word.
Anyway, I'm taking the day off.
Tell Lintalo I said hi.
First Kurisu and now the professor. Why did they keep trying to make everything about romance?
Anyway, isn't that called sexual harassment these days?
For one thing, she wasn't going to Okabe's lab just to visit him. She wanted to see him again and see if she could get any hints about the password. He had said he didn't know, but he'd probably be able to come up with more than she could on her own. That was what she'd thought after seeing how he interacted with Amadeus. You could call it a woman's intuition. She was thinking about that when she changed trains and got off at Akihabara Station. She felt like someone was watching her and spun around. It was a weekday, but the station was crowded. She looked around at all the people, but none of them seemed to be paying her much attention.
I must have imagined that, right?
She whispered to no one in particular as she started to walk again. Kurisu had told her the location of the Future Gadget Lab. She wasn't that familiar with the layout of Akihabara, but if she needed to, she could ask her for directions. What if she came in unannounced and Okabe wasn't there? That bothered her a little, but she decided she could just leave if that happened. Her eyes lingered on the junk parts lined up in the bins in the shops as she walked when she felt someone looking at her again. But when she turned around, she still didn't see anyone. She started walking again, then went around a corner into an alley. And then she was sure of it. Footsteps. She could hear them behind her. Of course, that was nothing special. She would often be out walking at night and hear footsteps behind her. She'd speed up her pace only to see an irritated man walk past a moment later. But this time, for some reason, she was sure it wasn't that.
She decided to try walking faster and found the footsteps went faster too. When she went slower, so did they. Whenever she saw a scene like this in a movie, she imagined that she'd just kick the guy in the face. Now that it was actually happening, she was too scared to turn around. She fumbled for the phone in her pocket. The idea of calling the police never occurred to her. The only thing she thought of was the name of the man she was trying to meet. She picked it out of her call history and pressed the button with trembling fingers.
Please.
The footsteps overlapped with the sound of the ringing.
Okabe, help me.
The footsteps were almost on top of her. Just when she couldn't take it anymore and was about to start running. Hello? She heard a voice coming from the other side of the phone.
Hello? Okabe, it's me, Hyajo. I'm right next to your lab.
But she didn't get to say another word. At the time she'd realized that someone had grabbed her from behind, the phone had already slipped from her hands. What's this? I asked Moeka Kiryu as I took the papers she offered me silently. She contacted Daru just 10 minutes ago and told him she was on her way to the lab. And she'd arrived right at the time she said she would. She must have been very close when she'd contacted him. What was she going to do if no one was here?
Report.
Evidently it was a report about her investigation thus far. The stack of papers was shaking a little in my hands. I still felt some unease when Moeka was in my presence. Maybe it was just because of the anxiety meds I'd taken right after she said she was coming, but I was still doing a lot better than yesterday.
Well, Uncle?
I guess it really isn't going to be that easy to find her.
I see.
She must have been expecting something, at least a little. There was an obvious tone of disappointment in her voice.
Kagari, where are you and what are you doing?
There's no way to answer her. I just silently flipped through the pages of the report.
What's up, Ocarine? Find something useful?
No, not really, but
Let me see.
I handed the report over to Suzuha without complaint. I pointed to the part that interested me with my finger.
The investigation has revealed one interesting fact. Over the past 1 to 2 months, it seemed another party besides ourselves has been searching for Kagari Shina. What does that mean?
Just what you read. Which meant... My phone started ringing before I could finish the thought. Normally I just ignore her and call back later, but... Sorry, can I take this? For some reason I had to answer. That's what it felt like. Hello?
Hello? Okabe, it's me, Hyajo.
She sounded on the verge of panic, and my voice naturally rose to match hers. What's wrong, Hyajo?
I'm right next to your lab.
Immediately afterwards, I heard what sounded like a struggle and then something hitting something else. Hyajo! Hyajo! What's wrong? There was only silence.
Ocarine, what's wrong?
From the tone of her voice, it was obvious something bad had happened. Someone's attacking this girl I know.
Wait, seriously, which girl?
I didn't stay to answer his question. I grabbed the nearest thing that could serve as a weapon and ran out of the lab. She said she was close to the lab. If she was coming from the station and had chosen a route that not many people would go down, she was probably the alley directly in front of the lab. I saw someone there. They were tall and slender, and I could just see a tiny silhouette struggling behind them. That was... I knew it. The only girl I knew that size was Maho.
Stop it! Let me go!
Someone had grabbed her and she was trying desperately to escape. Hyajo!
Huh?
The person who was holding her turned in surprise at my voice. A woman? It was only then that I realized it was a woman and that she wasn't Japanese.
Okabe?
Hey, let go of Hyajo! Did she not understand me? No, but she should have been able to guess what I was getting at. Let her go!
I tried to strike a threatening pose with a weapon in my hand. I finally realized that what I'd brought was a Siloom saber. Still, it would serve as a bluff. Say it again, let her...
It's not like that, Okabe.
Huh? It wasn't. It wasn't like what?
Oh!
The woman let go of Maho and smiled. She walked towards me with her arms open wide.
Are you Maho's boyfriend?
Huh? Wait, what? Before I could ask what was going on, she'd wrapped her hands around my back and given me a firm hug.
I told you he is not.
I had no idea what the hell was going on, but the two soft objects pressed in my chest kept me from moving. Then you know her, Hiajo.
I'm sorry, it was my mistake. I'm Judy Reyes. Pleasure meeting you, Mr. Okabe.
The woman named Judy Reyes offered me her hand, her broad smile like the sun itself. Nice to meet you.
Japanese will do just fine.
What? You speak Japanese, Professor?
Yes, actually.
I had no idea, but why?
When a girl gets to be my age, a lot happens.
Her mischievous wink looked pretty good on her.
Anyway, I'll introduce myself properly. Judy Reyes. Nice to meet you.
I returned her handshake. Rintaro Okabe.
Professor Reyes said she came to Japan for an AI conference.
He's a professor of Victochondria.
I research psychophysiology.
Psycho...
It's the intersection of psychology and biology. In other words, she researches how the activities of the brain affect the inner workings and diseases of the mind. In that sense, her research is a lot more useful to humanity than ours.
That's not true. Depending on how it turns out, your Amadeus could turn into an incredibly useful piece of technology.
Makes me happy to hear you say that.
In short, Dr. Reyes had happened to see Maho on the streets of Akihabara and decided to surprise her by grabbing her from behind.
Still, that's pretty mean of you, following me all the way from the station.
I followed you from the station?
That's right, you followed me the whole time, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I happened to see you from that shop over there and decided to surprise you.
Huh?
Maho had only just relaxed when Dr. Reyes' answer drained her face of its color. Yajo, someone followed you.
Yes, that's what it felt like.
Did you see anyone suspicious? Dr. Reyes denied it with that unique shrug the foreigners always do. I looked back over the alley, but of course I didn't see anyone.
Must have been mistaken then.
I'm sure you were. Japan's the safest country in the world, right?
Was it?
What are you going to do now, Maho?
Reyes seemed more to sense something in Maho's silence.
Yeah, I see. Alright, I'll be on my way then. We should talk sometime, Rintaro. Bye!
She gave me a meaningful wink as she left. The station was in the opposite direction. Should I have said something? I got a strange sense that she was feeling me out, but it seemed like a waste of time to resist. So this is Hiajo. You remember me telling you about how I met her at the seminar, right?
Sorry for all the fuss.
I ended up taking Maho back to the lab where everyone was waiting for my return. Suzuha had actually gone out once to look for me, but evidently by that time I was already gone.
Well, I'm glad it was nothing.
After I gave an introduction and an explanation, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Maho seemed to want to ask a lot of questions about the lab, but I had something I had to finish first. Sorry, where were we?
You were talking about another group looking for Kagami-tan.
Yeah, that's right. Is that true, Kiryu?
It's true.
I looked back down at Moeka's report where she'd written all the details. She'd even hired a private investigator to check it out, which meant that it was probably true. There's no chance it was Suzuha.
I thought of that, but...
Some of the people looking for her were men. Some were even foreigners.
Foreigners? How would they be looking for Kagari?
I'm the only one with any connection to Kagari in this time, so why would anyone...
Could it be CERN? Maybe CERN realized that she was from the future and had gone looking for her. If that was the case, then Moeka would have to know about it. Now, the Rounders were all given their orders individually, so it makes sense if she didn't know what the others were up to. Kagura Shina's been here for 12 years. She has to have met some people during that time.
Well, she couldn't survive that long without somebody's help.
That's true. In other words, what this report tells us is someone who knows who Kagura Shina is has started looking for her recently for some unknown reason. That means that at least until recently she was alive.
Oh, that's right.
Unless they could travel through time like Suzuha, if they were looking for her, that meant they'd known where she was until she disappeared. If people had started looking for her in the last few months, that means she'd been alive until then. There was nothing else to be learned from Moeka's report.
What will you do?
Will I continue the investigation? People were looking for Kagura in Akihabara. That means she might still be here.
Alright.
Moeka took her payment for the work she'd done so far and left the lab. Firehood paid the bill. It seemed that when his future daughter was at stake, he was willing to spend money.
You're looking for someone?
Maho had been looking around the lab with interest. Yeah, just a girl I know. It worried me that some of the people looking for Kagura Shina weren't Japanese. We've got ourselves a message!
Yo, Green, what time are you getting home today?
Huh? Something going on?
I met your mom and she asked me to cook tonight.
What?
She has to go to a meeting for the shopping street and she wasn't sure what to do for dinner. Maybe she said she'd do the cooking and she said that was okay.
You sure? You're busy too, aren't you, Mayuri? You don't have to do it.
It's fine, I'll make something good. Come home soon.
I see. Really? Seriously?
I'll be waiting.
Danger! Oh, there we go. Even outside of CERN, there were people all over the world who would jump at the chance to learn more about the time machine. If they somehow learned that Kagura was from the future, that could mean she was caught up in some kind of trouble.
Alright, Ocarine, give me the KWSK on Hyajushi.
I've already told you everything there is to know, though. She was Dr. Leskinen's assistant, and both she and the professor had been very good to me. I was helping with their work a little. I told them all this before.
For example, is there going to be a super development where she suddenly becomes a lab member?
Probably not.
Can I at least call her Mahotan? Actually, I'm just gonna.
Mahotan?
Huh? Did I get your name wrong?
That's not it, it's just a weird thing to say.
But you're Mahotan, right? Mahotan? Don't you agree, Ocarine?
Don't ask me.
Stop calling me that.
But I refuse.
He never changes, does he? So anyway, Hiaja, what brings you to the lab today? Did I tell you about this place?
Amadeus told me. There is something I wanted to talk to you about, but forget it. I gotta see this mysterious laboratory and it looks like you're all busy.
Was she mad?
Yeah, she was really ticked off. She says you're not picking up her calls.
That's exactly what I expected, yeah.
What? What are we talking about?
Nothing involving romance. Cool it, man.
Is this really bothering you after all, Lokabe? If you want to stop being a tester, you can...
No, that's not it. It's just... I hate how I was starting to feel dependent on her.
Talk to her sometime, if you ever feel like it. She's lonely.
Okay. The word lonely made my heart ache a little. But even so, I still didn't talk to Kursu that day. And I think that this is a pretty good place to cut it, as the search for Kagura keeps going and getting weirder. I don't remember exactly how this turns out, and I'm kind of glad that I don't, because, you know, that deepens the mystery. But, yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm also excited to see where the first of our alternate endings diverges from the main story, I guess, the true ending. But for now, thank you all so much for following my playthrough of Steins Gate 0, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now!